Knowledge of us, or that you make account of us. We are like a fleeting breath, our days are as a shadow. In the morning we flourish and grow up, and in the evening we are cut down and wither. You turn us to contrition and declare, return to me, or that we were wise and would consider our final end. The glory of humankind resides with us. The living and eternal memory we endure forever. In the heritage that we leave. So we gather with love wall to wall, room filled with dignity and honor and love, and from all our hearts, souls, and minds for Liza. We gather to raise our voices together to the source of life, asking for comfort and strength. We need that light when gloom darkens our hearts. To whom shall we look but to that creator of light? We need fortitude and courage when pain and loss assail us. Where shall we find them if not in the one who preserves all that is good from destruction? Who among us here in this room, filled with honor and dignity and respect for Liza, has not passed through trials and bereavements? Some of us here bear fresh wounds on our hearts and therefore feel more keenly the kinship of sorrow with those who love Liza the most. Others of us whose mourning is more remote still recall when a hug or a kiss or a silent word brought comfort to our sorrowing hearts. All things pass, all that lives must die, all that we prize is but lent to us, even for a brief time. We are travelers on the same road that leads to the same end. So to the family, the beloved family, in the next days and weeks, and you have started already to fill out all these forms that must be done. And on each of those forms will be the date of Liza's birth, normally followed by a little dash and followed by the date of her passing. What's important is certainly her birth date, and in Judaism important is the date of her passing, but those two bookend dates are nowhere even close to important as that little dash in between. Because that dash in between those two dates is symbolic of love. That dash in between those two dates is symbolic of this whole room, every seat, filled with those who love Liza the most and those who love you the most. That little dash is filled with a life of achievements and successes that will forever be memorialized, door by door, from generation to generation, to children that are not even born in your wonderful family. And I can certainly foresee in the years to come little children being born, boys and girls, named after Liza. And that is custom in Judaism. They will be taught that they are named after someone very, very special. As King David wrote in the 23rd Psalm, God will walk us through that valley of the shadow of death. God, King David wrote, will never leave us in that shadow. So when your days of mourning are more remote, one morning you shall wake up, and what will be left in your hearts and your souls, your minds, are simply and only those joy-filled and happy memories of Liza, and those are the ones that will be passed down from generation to generation, the door by door. So her memory will forever be a blessing to all of us in this room. We begin with those words of blessing with her father.
Good afternoon to all family and friends. Please accept my warmest gratitude for joining us today to say goodbye to my firstborn. My only daughter, my sweet angel, and my eternal love, Liza Michaela Dorfman. She's left us physically, but never in spirit, because she was a special woman to all of us, and larger-than-life personality that will continue to shine in my mind and heart for all the remaining days I have on earth. And just maybe, God willing, once I leave the earthly bonds, I shall reunite with my beloved daughter, when I can again tell her how proud I am of her and how much I love her. If you don't mind, please indulge me for a few minutes as I wish to eulogize Liza. I'll attempt to offer you a glimpse from my perspective of her life, which sadly ended in the early morning hours of Saturday, February 9th. I will likely need to take occasional breaks to cry, and please feel free to join me if so inclined. From her first picture taken the day she was born, July 25th, 1989, it was obvious that Liza was gorgeous. Her mom, Stacy, and I recall her early years were what parents hoped for. Bubbly, fun, loving, funny, adventurous, and so intelligent. Even as our family grew with brothers Jaron Jacob in 1990 and Alec Joel in 1993, Liza remained a joy to raise, to be around, and to observe. Sometime between 2000 and 2001, she changed significantly. A darkness appeared that we hadn't seen before. Liza appeared detached and constantly sad. In 2001, she attempted a suicide by swallowing a full bottle of Advil. Luckily, her brother Jaron found her while there was still time. We rushed her to the hospital, and she survived. Shortly thereafter, we had her psychologically evaluated, and the experts concluded that Liza suffered from borderline personality disorder, BPD. This is known to be a serious and chronic mental illness characterized by pervasive instability in moods, interpersonal relationships, self-image, and behavior. Originally thought to be at the border of psychosis and neurosis, it is lesser known than bipolar disorder and schizophrenia because it only affects about 2% of adults, and of these cases, 75% occur in women. People with BPD often act out with impulsive behavior, self-injury, and drug or alcohol abuse. For the next 10 years, there were good times and too many bad times. In spite of her difficulties, she graduated high school in 2007 with high honors, a presidential award, and a scholarship from Drexel University. Initially, she did well, but by the spring of her freshman year, she started to heavily self-medicate and was unable to continue with school. What followed can only be described as pure chaos. In 2011, Liza attempted another suicide, which only failed because someone happened by her at the right time. Another emergency room visit saved her life. By 2012, she was deeply into drugs as a means of dealing with the effects of BPD. She was so lost at this time that it was frightening. And no matter what help we offered, her condition only worsened. An event that occurred in July that year truly shook Liza to the core. Shook enough that she asked for help, and we arranged for her to attend a recovery center in California. 6 months later, she returned to New Jersey. Liza seemed to be reborn and returned to someone we knew years prior, a loving and caring human being. She was a joy to be around again. And now consider what she accomplished since. She moved home and was a model of good behavior. In fact, instead of disappearing for hours or days, she was checking up on us if we weren't home by 10. She enrolled in Camden County College and set her sights on higher education. Out of the horde of applicants, she was among the 2 candidates that completed an advanced biotechnology bachelor master's degree program in just 2 years at the Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia. She graduated in 2017 with a 3.92 grade point average. She earned and accepted an invitation to join Alpha Eta Honor Society, which recognizes excellence of allied health students. Think about that. Liza, who a few years earlier was on the street and deeply lost to society, qualified for Alpha Eta by achieving at least a 3.8 GPA, producing a resume that displays the capacity for leadership, dedicating significant time doing volunteer work in the healthcare field, and receiving a letter of recommendation from the faculty. Amazing. Post-graduation, she gained employment with Jefferson doing DNA extractions and evaluating colorectal tumor samples. In September of 2017, she became a research specialist with the University of Pennsylvania Cancer Research Center. For much of 2018, Liza appeared happy. She liked her work, was seriously dating a cardiologist, and seemed to be in full control of her BPD. Unfortunately, about 5 to 6 months ago, BPD started to creep in and wreck things for her. Instability ended her relationship with her boyfriend. Thereafter, it was a never-ending slide into deep sadness and depression. Liza was falling back into darkness and constantly complained about being tired, of always being sad. She eventually lost days of work and was too often found crying for no explainable reason. Liza found a new psychiatrist looking to adjust her medications. She restarted special therapy for BPD called DBT and continued to try to find an off-ramp from the sadness. As these actions all take time, her sadness and depression continued to be unrelenting, and she found herself in an uncontrollable downward spiral. And for people with DPD, reality doesn't matter. Their perception of reality is what they react to, and there's little chance of convincing them otherwise. As far as we know, she started using again recently as she looked for relief from the blues. The depth of depression experienced by a BPD sufferer, I understand, is much lower and deeper than most of us will ever experience. Outward appearance effectively masks the pain and the suffering. Stacy and Liza went on a Panama Canal cruise in December and January. Liza smiled for the pictures, seemed to have fun, but still slept more than 12 hours most of the days. Yes, I knew Liza was down, and we totally supported her. But I also knew only she could do something about it. As she suffered, we lived in constant fear of what ultimately happened. She had planned a 3-day trip to San Francisco with a friend this past weekend. Her friend backed out at the last minute, and Liza insisted she'd go alone. Concerned for her welfare, Stacy and I offered to join her. We flew from Newark to San Francisco on Saturday and arrived at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Liza was scheduled to arrive at 7:18 from Philadelphia. Her plane landed at 7:27, and by 7:40, when she didn't answer her cell phone, I already knew we had lost her. It took several excruciating hours until we got the call that confirmed our worst fears. The next morning, we flew home and eventually talked with the city of Philadelphia's medical examiner's office. We learned from the autopsy report that there was fentanyl in her body along with heroin. That is known to be a deadly combination. They report she died from drug intoxication. Based on the level of toxins found in her body, the fact that she was packed and ready to travel, and the content of the police report, it's apparent Liza wasn't looking to kill herself that morning. We believe she couldn't sleep, was feeling anxious, and did something to get her to the next day. You may wonder why a beautiful and educated woman would take such a risk. We've come to learn when people feel like they are drowning, they aren't always in a position to make a good decision. Whereas we look at it logically and wonder why smart, knowledgeable people would do such risky behaviors. We need to try to appreciate the desperate nature of where they are. There is an opioid crisis going on out there. Our kids are dying every day. Doesn't matter any longer if they're troubled kids, rich kids, poor kids, or from loving homes or abandoned. Doesn't matter if they're hardcore users or not. Fentanyl is cheap. Fentanyl is deadly. And fentanyl is showing up all over the place. Illegal drug use and distribution is vicious and totally out of control, and I pray a solution shows up soon so other families can avoid this nightmare. So Liza's gone, but she certainly isn't forgotten. If she could hear me or see into my soul, she'd know how much I ache and how much I miss her and how much I love her. Liza loved her family. She loved her friends. She loved her pets, and she loved all animals. She loved science, baking, art, social media, hiking, travel, and so much more. She just wanted to be like everyone else. She laughed, she cried, and she always did her best. It's a hard-fought battle, but now it's over. Liza's found peace, and we have to learn to be okay with that. Liza, I loved you long before you were born. You were my special one. I loved you then, and I'll love you forever. And all I can say is goodbye for now. Thanks. I've been designated as the spokesperson for members of our family, and they prepared some statements of which I'm going to read. When I complete that, my son Alec wants to say a few words, and her roommate Ted also wants to share some thoughts. This message is from her mom, Stacy. And this is directly speaking to Stacy. I'm sorry, Liza, the greatest joy of my life was giving birth to you. Although sometimes challenging, it was the most rewarding experience. I treasure the 29 years we shared together and will remember you lovingly forever. Love, Mom. This message is from Jaron, Liza's brother. Actually, there's a card that he gave me that I failed to bring, but I have the words here. He gave me a card that in fact, it says, Liza gave me this card a few years ago. What she wrote sums up how I felt about her. I feel she was better at putting things into words than me. And the card read, Brother, isn't it amazing that we're related? I mean, people as awesome as us are so rare to begin with. Happy birthday. She wrote inside the card, Jaron, I believe you want better things in life. I see us both being successful with recovery and life. You are such a wonderful person and brother. I don't know what I would do without you. You made me a better person by knowing and growing up with you. It's weird thinking about growing up without you because you are my best friend. You are lucky having a close relationship, or we are lucky having a close relationship since birth. How often does that happen? I'm a lucky sister. I cherish your friendship and love. I hope to see you soon. Love so much. Happy birthday, bro. So Jaron added the following comments. Liza was my first friend, my best friend, and I loved her as much as anyone could love anyone in the world. I was so lucky to have her in my life. It's still hard to grasp what happened. Like a bad dream, I'm waiting to wake up and see and talk with her again. The pain and heartache are worse than I thought possible. The only way I can come to terms with Liza's passing is to know that she'll never actually be gone to me. We've shared a close relationship for 28 years, and she is part of me. I'm going to live the best life that I can and bring her with me everywhere I go. I love you, Liza. Rest easy. All right, next is on behalf of his cousins, the Bauer girls. We wanted to share how Liza would always make fun and joke with us for having no clue how to apply a face of makeup. Every time we would be together, she would always reteach us, and this has been going on for at least 10 years. Also, we'll never forget the endless hours of playing Philadelphia rum with our entire family together. Another memory is when Liza and Morgan went Black Friday shopping and got locked inside the mall, and the cops had to escort us out. We miss you so much, Liza, and we'll always love you. The next comments are from her cousin Renee. She rescued and cared for mice from her lab that she grew, and she grew a giant pineapple in the house. She was always painting nails, making cookies or cakes in bright artistic colors. She never cared what other people thought. She always had a different hair color and style. She loved her family fiercely, and she made others laugh. And of course, butts up. Okay? An inside joke. This is from her cousin, Stephen. My cousin Liza was the sweet, loving individual. She was very involved with the family, and you can see in her eyes that the love she had for everyone. She was warm and accepting. When I brought my wife to a family event, she approached her with Robin and said, "We decided we like you." I can't imagine the family without her, and she's been an integral part. This message is from her grandma Hannah. Liza was my first grandchild and my most cherished. I loved when she would come to my house with her arms outstretched, wanting a hug. That memory will never change. I will always remember the happy, bubbly, fun, lovely times that we shared, and will always love her with all my heart. The next comes from Cousin Sam. Although we lived far apart for so long, we could always count on Liza for a big hug and a shiny smile every time we visited. She was truly warm and vibrant and made you feel loved when you were around her. Cousin Jeff says, Liza was always a presence at family gatherings. I'll always remember her for her sincerity and authenticity. Cousin Elisa says, with some people, living far apart means things are awkward when you are together. Liza was one of those people that made time and distance irrelevant. She really personified what it means to be family, and gatherings will be less bright without her. The next set of comments are from her aunts, my sisters, Michelle, Cheryl, and Suzanne. It's all surreal. To think that Liza isn't here anymore is beyond comprehension. She touched so many lives between her sweet demeanor and her silly humor. She was easy to love. Liza valued family. She adored her mother and was very attached to her dad. Her brothers were very close to her heart, and her nephew was the joy of her life. Liza loved her family as well as her extended family. She was very loving to Grandma Ogie and made sure to see her as much as she could, even when Grandma couldn't engage in conversation. Liza's laugh was infectious and made Grandma, as well as all of us, very happy. She always was very affectionate with her sweet smile and beautiful eyes. Liza was very talented and smart. We remember telling her how proud we were of her getting a driver's license and off to college to receive not only the undergrad, but the master's too. Liza was quite the cook. She loved baking, and we've seen Liza put together a delicious bruschetta without a recipe. She whipped it up like a pro. She always made a point to be with the family whenever she could, and she had a stopover on the way to the Bahamas or a cruise. She would always look in on her grandma visits and visit with her aunts. She never missed coming to Holly Meal or family gathering. Liza was a gorgeous girl with so many attributes. It's a devastating that she's gone, but she will be young and beautiful forever, and she would have loved that. We only pray she has peace now and forever. Our hearts are broken, but we will have the memories of a beautiful, bright, sweet niece who loved being with the family, and we love being with her. The next comments come from my wife's sister and husband, Aunt Tracy and Uncle Jeff. I knew Liza wasn't going to be the athlete we were hoping for when she went to her first soccer game and she sat down in the field while playing the game was going on. Around her, it was sticking flowers. She always had a love for flowers. The many trips to Color Me Mine, and we would all look at what she was drawing so we could cheat and draw something like she did. Liza was so creative, always drawing beautiful pictures, so talented. I think Liza may have been 3 or 4 when we got her an aerial fish tank, and she took the goldfish out and put it in her bed in bed with her in her dollhouse. Stacy loved us for that one. Our most recent memories were hiking Ricketts Glen Falls. She loved the moss, the bugs, and different kinds of mushrooms, and she was always fascinated with nature, and which she enjoyed so. And of course, no one could grow succulents like her. She would give me the most beautiful ones, and they would be gone in a month. I just couldn't get her green thumb for those succulents, and of course, her most prized possession, the pineapple she grew. You'll be missed forever. And the last one that I have, before we call a ballot, is from her closest cousin, not in deference to her other cousins, but they had an unbreakable bond, Robin. I hope everyone has a relationship with someone in their life like I had with Liza. Someone who knows every little detail about you, someone you can text or call with every day, someone who shares your humor, feelings, and emotions. We were each other's human diaries. We told each other everything. We loved talking, gossiping, complaining, laughing, as long as it was something we could do together. We never lived geographically close, but saw each other several times throughout the year. And most importantly, we were in constant daily communication. The last few days have been incredibly lonely and sad reminder of what I've lost in my day-to-day. A major part of my daily routine is no longer there, and a major part of my daily routine can never be replaced. I'm moving to Philadelphia in April. 2 weeks ago, Liza helped me find an apartment a few minutes walk from hers. I had a vision of what my life would soon look like together with Liza. It was finally our dream come true, living in the same place at the same time. My kids were going to have an auntie in the neighborhood. I pictured her being a constant fixture in our house, weekends together at parks and museums, her being a second mom to my kids. I thought she'd be in the delivery room with me. I'm having so much trouble moving forward with how the next few years will look. I have no idea how the rest of my life will look when my whole life had a vision of us growing into old ladies together. I'm never going to fill the void in my heart. I've lost my best friend. Liza, you were beautiful, talented, smart, and hilarious. Just being you made me laugh. A few years ago, you typed up a crazy dream you had, and to this day, my brother and I read it and reread it and can't stop laughing. Your sense of humor was just like mine. We were immature and gross, but our shared sense of humor was always what we needed to get us through the day. And by the way, the other cousins, now you know why you're not on the list. It scares me that I won't ever find that in anyone else ever again. You were one of a kind. I'm so certain I'm certain I won't. You were the last bit of childlike spirit. Liza and I were always getting ourselves in trouble no matter what age we were. I can remember our parents yelling at us at 9 years old. I can also remember us being yelled at just last year. You were my partner in crime. Liza, you had so much to offer the world. So much beauty and talent. Anything artsy, whether it was painting, makeup, cake making, you were so good at it. But you were also so smart and scientific. The most important, you were so full of love. You were such a snuggly human being. I'm so thankful for all the times we had together and don't really know how to move forward or redirect what I thought our future would be. You will be missed by many people and so very missed by me. Liza, I love you so much. And before I call a ballot, I want to play one song which was the place where Liza's name came from. And it's this little really requiem for you.
Moonshine on the river, come along, my Liza. Breeze singing through the treetops, come shining down. We should make a date with Parson Brown. Liza, Liza, name of the day, when you belong to me, and the clock rolled away. Liza, Liza, name of the day, when you belong to me, all the clouds will roll away.
Thank you. Alec, you're so inclined to take the stage.
Thank you, everyone who came. I just mainly wanted to say that I'm sad, and why. Number one is I don't understand why my sister would do something that I know that killed over 8,000 people last year. I'm sad because I'm not going to be able to see my sister be able to grow up and have a great life, and at the same time watch me grow, and also watch my life continue to grow and we get more grief. My sister, a couple of weeks before she died, she went on a trip with her mother to South America, and they sent me a bottle of tequila. And it changed my opinion about tequila. So I managed to be able to save the last 40% of the bottle, and the last message that I gave was that I'm waiting for her to come so we could finish it together. And it's still sitting on my counter, and I don't know what to do with it. And my wife is waiting for me to make a decision. Over the past 10 years, I haven't seen my sister so often. We speak every once in a while on the phone. But I remember, if you'd asked me as a child, my existence was the five of us. My father, my mother, my sister, my brother, and me. And only in recent years we've had a few additions. My wife, my son, and my brother's wife now. And this is the first subtraction. So now, even though every time we're going to be together again, there's still always going to be someone missing. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Mizmor David, Adonai Ravilo Echsar, Binat Eshet, Yavitzini, Al Mei Menuchot, Yenahaleini. If you know the 23rd Psalm, the traditional words, please say them out loud with all your heart and love for Liza. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest the table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The highest compliment that you could ever call a Jewish woman is a Eshet Chaya, a woman of valor. And it is certainly symbolic of all those who fill these seats with love, with standing room only. That Liza, to all of us, a woman of valor. A good woman who can find her. She is worth far more than rubies. She brings good and not harm all the days of her life. She girds herself with strength and finds her trades profitable. Wise counsel is on her tongue, and her heart never suffers for warmth. She stretches her hand to the poor, reaches her arms to the needy. All her friends praise her. Her family blesses her, and her community will miss her. She is known at the gates as she sits with the elders. Dignity, honor are her garb. She smiles at the future. And a message for all of us who sit here with love, called the last 5 minutes. If we discovered, the late Christopher Morley said, if we discovered that we only had 5 minutes to say all we wanted to say, every telephone booth would be occupied by people stammering that they loved them. Why wait until the last 5 minutes? Okay.
I'm going to reinforce some of what's been said already, but Liza was a truly modern-day Renaissance woman. She was an artist, a baker, a scientist, a horticulturalist, a beautician, and she was a beautiful singer. She brought joy to our apartment and to my life every single day. She loved her family and was a proud and loving aunt. I'm the last person that usually says these kinds of things, but the morning after she passed away, I noticed a small new bud on her pineapple plant on the second stalk that had always refused to flower until now. I wondered if she had gotten to see it, or if it was her way of letting me know that she was okay and at peace. I know she would have loved it and have been so proud of her baby pineapple. She was so proud of that plant and loved taking care of it, and when anyone new was visiting, she made sure to show them the pineapple. And although the pineapple plant was her prized possession, she took care of many other plants at our apartment, which made the house feel like a home and a jungle. Liza and I had a roller coaster of a friendship together at the beginning. When we were young, we made our parents crazy. And when we grew up, I know that she made both of our parents proud. She inspired me every day. She went back to school, attained her master's degree, and worked at the University of Pennsylvania doing cancer research. Liza was impressive. I hugged her every day and reminded her of all of her accomplishments, and I told her that I loved her. That's how our friendship was, and she has always had my back when I needed her. I was so proud of her. I am so proud of her, and I did my best to tell her that and remind her that she was one of a kind. It took me a little bit longer, but because I saw Liza do it, I went back to school last January and I'm finishing my own degree. She did that and inspired me all the time. The apartment is so empty without her joyful energy around. I miss her coming home, calling out my name while walking up the stairs. I miss talking to her about her days, and I miss her so much, and I feel a huge void in my heart. Liza was my best friend, and so many others, and a one-of-a-kind person, and brought so much joy to all those who knew her. Rest in peace, Liza. We're all friends. Thank you.
If you had the honor and the privilege of knowing Liza, she went by many names of love, nicknames, names of family names of respect. Please say that name that she will forever be known to you as she was known in this world, and when you have the honor of thinking about her, please say that name that she will always be known to you as after we say the words, we will remember. In the rising of the sun and at its going down, we will remember. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we will remember. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we will remember. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of the autumn, we will remember. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us, as we will always remember. It has been my honor to know your family for many years. These two young mensches have become older mensches, and now they're much taller and much loved with family and children. There are many families that Liza belonged to. One of those families was Congregation Makor Shalom. We're seeing that she grew up to as a teacher of Hebrew, a private teacher of the disabled children. She went on birthright to Israel. She was dedicated to Makor Shalom. And they were blessed to have her, and she was blessed to have them. Our prayer of our departed, the Elmalei Rachamim, we call it Abby.
So before I became a rabbi, I was a bar bat mitzvah tutor at Makor Shalom, and I was Liza and Jared's tutor 16 years ago. And while of course I loved all of my students, some of them touched me more than others, and Liza was one of them. In the past few years ago, we reconnected at Makor Shalom, and I was offering a program on addiction and recovery, and Liza graciously, courageously came and spoke for me and shared her experience, strength, and hope. And she was an inspiration. She was an inspiration at that time. And may she always continue to be an inspiration. As so many of you have shared how she's touched your life and her strengths and her beauty and her courage and her laughter. May she always continue to be an inspiration. As we chant the mourner's prayer, Elmalei Rachamim, we begin our journey in helping to lift Liza's spirit on her journey towards her source. And may she rest in peace as may she journey in peace. So I ask you to rise at this time. If you have a prayer booklet, Elmalei Rachamim is on page 21. Elmalei Rachamim, נחלתה ותנוח בשלום המשכבה ונאמר Please join me, O God, exalted and full of compassion. Grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Liza McCalla Dorfman, daughter of Stacy and Doug, who is gone to her eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that she performed in the land of the living. May her soul be bound up in the bonds of life. The Lord is her portion. May she rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
Please remain standing. Before we conclude with the mourner's Kaddish, the family would like those who would like to give with love in the name of Liza to give to the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. Shiva is tonight, Wednesday, and tomorrow night on Thursday. Family is invited to the home of Mom and Dad, 111 Passaic Avenue in Voorhees, straight after this service. Formal Shiva services are tonight at 7:30. Friends and family are also invited any time at all tomorrow on Thursday. Once again, tomorrow night, our Shiva services at 7:30. The directions to the home of Liza are in the lobby when you leave. We continue with the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'alma v'yirach chirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agala v'bizman kariv v'imeru Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam Ulamei Admaya Yitbarach Vishtabach Vitpa'ar Vitromam Vitnaseh Vithadar Vit'aleh Vithalal Shemei Dekudasha Richu Leila Min Kol Bechata Beshirata Tushbechata Benet Chemata Da'amiran Bi'alma Bi'imeru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imeru Amen. Oseh Shalom Imromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imeru. And we conclude. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arm around others and give them what you need to give me. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas and multiplying your mitzvot. You can love me most by letting me live in your deeds and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our tradition teaches. Love doesn't die, only people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. You may be seated.
pallbearers, please step to the center line. And I'll ask if we can all rise once more.